Dr. Ophelia Zepeda. So, Dr. Ophelia Zepeda is a member of the Hana Nation and Regents Professor of Linguistics at the University of Arizona. She has 3 books of poetry: Ocean Power, Poems from the Desert, Earth Movements, and Where Clouds Are Formed, and is the co-editor of Home. Her poems and essays have appeared in numerous anthologies and journals, including Reinventing the Enemy's Language, edited by Joe Harjo and Gloria Bird, Poetry of the American Southwest, a Columbia anthology, Allison Deming, editor, and a narrator compass, Stories that Guide Women's Lives, edited by Roberta S. Trite and Betsy Hearn, and most recently in Sonoran Desert, a literary field guide, edited by Eric McGrain and Christopher Cocaninos. So, please, round of applause, if you will.
Thank you. And of course, I want to thank all the people this afternoon that have been acknowledging this space here. Not necessarily this building, but Tucson, and what we call Odamajordaka, Odamaki. Mopahiaswaha, Moidawatski, Moidawat Jordan and Struki Amja, Oyapo. It's up that Musicapin Bapia, Oyapo. And so, of course, like I said, I appreciate the acknowledgement of our homeland. And of course, as a member of the nation, I appreciate your presence here. And I welcome you, those of you that are visiting Juksho. So I'm going to read a little bit from Where Clouds Are Formed, and then I have a couple of new pieces that I want to share. And I'm going to start with the title piece, The Place Where Clouds Are Formed. Every day it is the same. He comes home and he tells her about it. As he speaks, his breath condenses in front of his face. She goes about her business. Every now and then she looks over. She doesn't hear his voice. She sees the soft fog that continues to form a halo. She knows he is still talking about that place. He never tires of it like she does. Only on summer days when the air is hot and the moisture is still a long time in coming, she asks him to tell her about that place. She sits facing him, waiting for the first vocalics, non-stops, the push of air from his lips. He tells her of the place where clouds are formed. The cool dampness of his voice is rich, even on a dry June day. Her face beads with wetness as he talks directly to her. Each aspirated sound a gentle burst of coolness. Tell me again, she teases. If he knew she only wanted relief from the heat and not the story, he would stop talking. He begins, the first time I saw the place where clouds were formed was from a window of a train. Another time was in a mirage in the heat outside Tucson. Once he thought he saw it in the dry light of stars. The place he remembers best was when he saw it in the eyes of a woman he spoke to. When he first noticed it, she hid it by lowering her gaze. Soon she let him look freely. There were times when she opened her eyes wide, allowing an unobscured view. Sometimes he saw her eyes smolder with dryness on a summer day. Other times she was rich with moisture. Clouds came in succession, the earth's shadows muted. You know the 40 days and 40 nights? I was there. I'll be there when it happens again, she said with a slight smile. Like a child, he rushed to look into her eyes at every opportunity. If he could, he would hang on her eye socket, peering inside, marveling at her display. 2. An unusually cold December day, right around Christmas, clouds, mist find solace in the canyons of the Santa Catalina Mountains. White moisture quietly moving amid the cactus. Truly, clouds, wind, and rain are the few elements that can touch the saguaro cactus from head to foot. Oblivious of spines and needles, rubbery hide surrounded, soothed by elements. Contact triggers stored heat of remembered summers. Moisture beads roll forward unstoppable. From the city below we see mist rising, mist rising. 3. We sit close in the cab of the truck. The weather is cold, wet outside, too messy to stand in waiting for a school bus. My father's truck is warm inside, having been at work since 4 a.m. The sound of the engine is soothing, heater working to capacity. Inside the cab we are silent, we don't need language. We listen to the regular hum of the engine, rhythm of the windshield wipers, soft rain on the hood, aware of the cold air surrounding our temporary shelter. We look out over the fields where the fog clings to the soil. Every now and then, with the back of his gloved hand, he wipes the windshield. Is it coming yet? The 3 of us sit quietly, breathing clouds. Clouds condense as they contact the coolness of the windows. My father appears to breathe air with temperature in balance. He forms no clouds. He watches us. We continue to breathe, gray soft mist waiting for the school bus. And anyway, it seemed like I chose sort of traveling pieces here about places and place names. This one is specific to, again, this part of Arizona and other parts of the Autumn Reservation, and so there are place names here that are from the reservation community. And let's see. And I just want to make a reference, I'm sure many of you know, the mountain range, on the map it's called Babakiwari, in Autumn it's Walgiwari, and the main mountain, Walgiwari, of course, is the most sacred point for the Autumn. And they say, Autumn people say that wherever you are, in this region, if you can see that peak, Walgiwari, then you're home. And so it sort of ends that way. And this piece is just called Blacktop, and that's what the people still call a highway, because they still have lots of dirt roads. So highway is a blacktop. The blacktop carries me past 3 points. The security of the homeland passes by me. It carries me past San Pedro, where weavers sit under the vato. Their voices drift into the tangle of desert where all language goes. The blacktop carries me into the Tohono, into the heat, making me delirious. San Lucy sounds like a country western song. The blacktop carries me in all directions. Sometimes I am traveling with a lone eagle. Other times I roam with worse scavengers. The blood on the heat of the blacktop calls me. It calls me as if it had always known my name. Anonymity is my desire. Walking instead in sandy beaches and rocky hills unseen, leaving the debris of my life under a mesquite tree. I rush toward an imaginary new life. The blacktop carries me in all directions. It knows my name. I never told it my name. It calls me. It wants to carry me in all directions. It whispers, you will always see Walgiri in your rear view mirror. And this is the newer piece that M mentioned from the Desert Field Guide. No, I'm sorry. This is also, it appeared in a food magazine, the Desert Harvesters wanted a piece on food and desert food, I guess. And so I took it sort of in my own way, and it is about food, but not really. I called it feasting. A mesquite bark, dirt, pollen, and water. The flavor of the aroma mingle at the back of my mouth, calling on all my senses. The taste of green is so strong it colors my tongue like a gumball. The flavor of dirt is more than that. I can feel the grit scrape my palate. The imagined grains grind between my teeth. The dust of pollen rests on the hairs of my nostrils like they would on the delicate abdomen of a bee. I taste through smell. I imagine nectar seeping through me. The holiness of the moisture of clouds is gourmet. I gorge on the summer and winter rains of the desert. I savor the goodness of wetness. It has the longest aftertaste. The taste lasts a lifetime, moving me to recall it, a reminder of my humanness. I feast, but I eat nothing. Then I'd like to close with this one. This doesn't appear anywhere yet, but I wrote it for our water series that we had at the U of A last year. And I call it Blessings for Water. And I just wanted to mention the last segment refers to a friend of mine, a woman who's also a linguist from the Wampanoag Nation, who her and her family revived that language after it had not been spoken for over 100 years. And so it's called Blessings for Water. I've touched the waters of the White River in eastern Arizona, and I have put my foot in the slow currents of the San Pedro. I have felt the icy flow of the Merced River in Yosemite. I've ridden the waves of the Colorado and rested on its flows. I've seen the Rio Grande run rapids in the north and meander the flats of southern New Mexico, where whooping cranes rest on their way home. I've lived in a place called Red River, where there is no river but named for a movie. I've lived near the Relito River, a river named twice, a river that can flow with the best during rainy winters and rich summer monsoons, a dry riverbed most of the year, harboring the dreams and debris of homelessness. As for larger bodies of water, we must pray at their feet and give gifts. I have done so and record them here now. I have offered blessings at the Pacific Ocean, in San Diego, Los Angeles, La Jolla, Venice, and Ventura Beach, with vacationers and frisbee chasing dogs as witnesses. I have offered prayer at a dry, hot desert beach at the Gulf of Mexico, with only Mexican fishermen caring for nets as alibis. I've humbled myself on the black beaches of Hilo, and another time at Waikiki, oblivious to bronze bodies and surfers. I've offered blessings only once at the Atlantic Ocean, at Martha's Vineyard, with the woman who shook her language from sleep. Thank you very much.